9:32. Last year, as I was getting ready to get the toy show together that Friday morning, a 7-year-old girl in County Galway was having a very different experience, and I want to talk to her mum about that. Rosanna Ruan, good morning to you.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
Nice to talk to you. Thank you. Tell me about Saoirse before the toy show day. What are we dealing with in terms of a curious, delightful young child?
Yeah, absolutely. Very talented, very energetic girl, very affectionate girl, and just your normal 7-year-old, going to school every day and doing her activities outside of school. No worries at all in the world.
Okay.
Very happy, yeah.
And then we get to kind of late November, and she's limping a bit.
Yeah, she came home with kind of a pain in her ankle, and then that within about a week and a half developed into a limp, which then on observing it kind of turned into... her leg kind of nearly turned out the way a bit. So because of that, then we had examined it ourselves and felt that there was nothing wrong, but we brought her to the GP then, and it was that particular Friday that the GP referred us to A&E for an X-ray.
And when did you go to the A&E?
That Friday.
Straight away?
Yeah. My husband brought her in because my other little one had been in the doctors as well, and she had an ear infection.
What did you think it was? I mean, a limp and a sore leg. Did you think it was? I presume I suspect you thought it was an innocent little thing.
We honestly did. We did. Yeah, we just thought, this is a sprain now or something, because I've never experienced a break, thank God. So we really didn't even think it was anything of that seriousness. So when she was sent home from A&E with what they told us was a broken bone in her ankle, we were completely shocked.
And when you got home, what did you do when you had that news? What were you thinking?
So she came home, she was very upset, there was a lot of cuddles, and we snuggled up to watch you, of course, and it was just, I was gutted because mum's guilt, how did I not know she was limping around on a broken bone, and the pain she must have been feeling must have been a lot worse than what I thought. So I suppose it was, and then I remember someone was here visiting on the Saturday, and they had said, well, aren't you lucky it wasn't anything worse? And we were saying, yeah, thank God. Yeah,
it could have been worse. Which takes you to what? You went to get an MRI?
So that takes us to Sunday, where the orthopaedics rang us and said they were looking at the X-ray and they weren't happy with it. And we went and did a full day of tests. And that night they wanted to admit her, and that's when we went up to the ward. The team were there to meet us, and we just knew straight away something wasn't right.
When you go in and when you say something wasn't right, is it the mood or is it the faces of the staff or is it an instinct?
We were told that we wouldn't see the team until the following day, and when we landed on the corridor, they basically literally turned around and put out their hands and started introducing themselves to us, and I'd never experienced anything like that before. And then brought us into a room, and Dr. Fenton Shannon, the gentleman, spoke to Saoirse and asked her the normal few questions, and then he brought us out into our own room, and that's when it all felt very... I just knew going into the office with him, and there was 3 staff members, I just knew when we were going in there, we weren't going to come out the same, that there was something going down, and it was very, very scary.
And what did he tell you?
He basically said that they were looking at an infection or a tumour. An infection just faded into the background for us. It was, tumour, think the worst. And, they were very quick, Ryan. They let us home that night with Saoirse, and they had us back in for an MRI the following morning. And he came to me himself and said, have you somewhere to stay in Dublin the Monday night? And he said, get organised, get up there. You'll be in Crumlin for a biopsy on Tuesday morning. So from Friday to Tuesday, all that happened, and we were told we wouldn't even have the biopsy results for a week. But that day, there and then, they told us that infection was ruled out. So we were dealing with a tumour. And can you tell us what sort of tumour it was? Yeah, so it's like a bone cancer. It's osteosarcoma. It's a very rare tumour. You'd have maybe 3 children in Ireland every year diagnosed with this under the age of 16. A tiny number. Very tiny when you think about the population of Ireland. And then unfortunately, Ryan, it didn't end there for us because she commenced chemo in December, and they had just mentioned, because of where the tumour was situated in her ankle, that they may have to look at surgery on the ankle, and amputation was suggested, but it wasn't until January that we found out for definite that that was the case. So she had her just under her right leg amputated in March.
In March just gone by.
Just gone, yeah.
How do you talk to a 7-year-old about the enormity of such an operation for her life, for her psychology, for her physicality, for yourselves?
I don't know, Ryan. It was so hard to get our heads around it ourselves first, and I remember asking that so often. How do we tell her? How do you tell a child this news? Like a little innocent child who has no worries, and you're meant to be protecting them in the world from everything bad, and you've no control over this. So we spoke to the team a lot, and they had prepped us, and they had kind of said, be honest with her, and there's a trust there that you can't break. So we were very honest with her, but we kind of, first of all, we told her she had a tumour, which she didn't understand, and then we knew she'd understand the word cancer. So we picked our time to tell her that, and that was traumatizing. Telling her that she was going to lose her hair, she was growing it for her communion. That was another blow. And then, to tell her that they were going to take her leg was just, it was horrific.
No, I can't. When you did do it, who was in the room?
We asked the oncologist to come with myself and my husband, Dolly.
Yeah.
Dolly was coming up for a team meeting, and we had chose to, these couple of days that we'd be together with her in the hospital. We'd never told her anything bad at home. It's always hospital-based.
That was clever.
Yeah.
Yeah, just put a context on it, and to associate it always with the hospital is where the medical things happen. That was a really smart move.
Yeah.
And home is for the safety and the hugs.
Exactly.
And, yeah, that's really good. Yeah.
So Dr. Michael Capra is her oncologist. He's amazing, and he came in and he basically let us do the talking, but he was a great support to us.
Yeah.
And of course, she was scared, she was angry, she lashed out, and as you would, and it was very hard on us all. Everybody had tears.
Who did she lash out at?
I suppose she just looked straight at us, with the shock. Is this happening? And I suppose looking at us as if to say, are you letting this happen? You look to your parents, the people that you trust. And we'd kind of break it down in a way so that she'd understand what we were doing. But it took a couple of weeks for her to understand, and baby feeding her the news.
It is so much for one so young to take in.
Yeah.
And yet you had to do it. I mean, you couldn't just put her into the knife, as it were, and say, we'll talk to you tomorrow. But that's enormous. Go on.
As it was, Ryan, sorry.
No, please, no.
This, telling her this, and she's going through a very intense chemo, had lost the hair. She's going through so much already.
God.
And it was just like, really, who is pulling all these strings? Because, it just felt very unfair.
You doubted your faith, if you had any.
You do doubt it. You question it, all right, yeah.
You had to come up. I'm just trying to think of the timings. You came up on, was it St. Patrick's night to Dublin?
That's right, yeah, for admission, and she had the surgery the following morning.
And was COVID starting to...
Yeah, COVID had kicked in. So our trips had become, our little trips to Dublin. When we'd go up for chemo, I'd do chemo with her, and we'd usually maybe go on a Sunday night, and we'd stop for an ice cream on the way up. That was our little routine. And we might be there till Thursday, Friday, and on the way down then we'd go into the plaza in Kinnegad for our drive-through chips. And, it made it something to look forward to, going up and going down.